review. Obviously, the big thing everybody is concerned about at the moment, worried about at the moment, Hamlin collapsed during the Monday night game. I actually had to postpone making a video yesterday on Monday because I went to an NBA game, and then as I got to the stadium and got parked and everything, I saw the news came out about what happened with them. Then the game gets suspended, so that game is not being played this week. There were some people that thought it would be played either today or tomorrow, but that's not the case. It's not being played this week. And there hasn't really been too many updates on DeMar's status. Since he got to the hospital, nobody really knows. But yeah, besides his family and friends, whoever's there, but, nobody really knows what's happening at this point. CPR was done on the field, all this other stuff. So, just have to hopefully he recovers. Definitely a scary situation whenever somebody has, lost consciousness and has CPR performed for that long, like somewhere around 10 minutes or something like that. That's never a good sign, but I'm glad that they postponed the game. You can't resume a game. Mentally, you can't do it, the other players, and it's just not right, obviously, for a multitude of reasons. For football purposes, it gets a bit weird, because that game has a lot of implications on the playoff race, and people don't know what's going to happen next week. There's a story that came out. Mike Reus, he says that it's possible that the Patriots and the Bills will not play this coming Sunday. That game might get canceled or postponed. The Bengals-Bills game obviously hasn't been completed. So we don't know. Everything's up in the air. We don't know if any games are going to get played next week, whether maybe the Bills are just forfeiting the rest of the season, maybe no teams are playing next week. It's all up in the air right now, but we're just going to talk about what happened this last week. Do this review. The predictions are going to get weird for next week. But again, hopefully he's able to pull through. There's been some, like I said, some updates, not many with Hamlin, but apparently they lowered the amount of oxygen he's on at the hospital, which is a good sign. Because I know for a while they said he was not breathing on his own, so that's kind of a sign that he is able to a bit. Okay, let's get in here. These were the games from last week. My predictions. First off, I said that the Chiefs would beat the Broncos, and they did, but this was like the best the Broncos have looked all season, honestly. Especially from Russ. 24-27 is your final score in favor of the Chiefs. Russell Wilson, he goes 26 for 38, 222 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. One of those was like a 20-yard rush too, so it wasn't just QB sneaks up the middle or something like that. Like, that was a legit rush there. Patrick Mahomes goes 29 for 42, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns all through the air, and a single interception. Russ also had an interception. I think I said the Jaguars would beat the Texans, and they did. The Jaguars remain in first place in the AFC South. They finally hit 500. After winning this game, they go 8-0. 31-3 is your final score. The Houston Texans do not get a third win yet. We'll see if they get one next week. What's funny is this was supposed to be a much closer game. Jacksonville was only a 3.5 point favorite. They blew them out by 28 points, so obviously was not as close as that. Trevor Lawrence goes 17 for 21, 152 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Davis Mills, he goes 22 for 40, 202 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But I know it doesn't count as an interception, but Davis Mills does give up a fumble that is returned for a touchdown for the Jaguars, so that doesn't count as an interception, but giving up a strip sack, fumble, touchdown, I think that should probably go against him there. Next up, I said that the Patriots would beat the Miami Dolphins, and they did. Both teams sitting at 8-8 now after this game, and it has been confirmed. Obviously, Tua with this concussion issue, obviously last week and then a few weeks before. He is being sidelined the rest of this season. There was a report that came out that said, his falling mechanics, the way that he falls, makes him more prone to hitting his head compared to other people. Which I'm not sure how that would be, but that's what the Dolphins medical staff is saying. He falls incorrectly. And I'm not sure if that has something to do with him being not left-handed, but throwing with his left hand. So maybe, since he's using his non-dominant side to throw the ball when he's getting tackled, his body isn't responding correctly or something, but the Miami medical staff said he falls in a way that makes him hit his head more. So he's being sidelined the rest of the season. But the Patriots, they win this one 23-21. Teddy Bridgewater, he goes 12 for 19, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but unfortunately for him, that interception is a pick 6. And in a game where the other team wins by 2 points, obviously that is definitely maybe not the deciding factor, but certainly a big factor in the loss. Mac Jones, he goes 20 for 33, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Alright, and the guy who wants me to keep picking against the Steelers, because they always win when I do, must be happy because I picked against them. Even though I think if you go back and watch that video, I'm pretty sure I say that I think the Steelers are going to win, but I'm just picking against them for that guy's sake. But they do win this one 16-13. Kenny Pickett goes 15 completions on 27 attempts, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Tyler Huntley for the Ravens goes 14 for 21, 130 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And honestly, Kenny Pickett has really turned it around from how he looked at the beginning of this season. It feels like he's kind of clicking with the offense a bit more. He's maybe seeing the field a bit better, I'm not sure, but go watch Steelers games, clips from Steelers games from the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and look at them now, and he looks like a completely different player, honestly. Um, I said the Cowboys would beat the Titans. They did, and this is an interesting one because this just shows you sometimes Vegas gets this line so correct. Dallas wins 27-13. They win by 14 points. The line for Dallas was 13.5 points. That is crazy accurate. They win by 14. The line is 13.5. The total score for this game is 40 points. And the over-under on this game was 40.5 points. Vegas, absolutely nailed both lines by half a point. So this game right here probably made them a lot of money. Dak Prescott, he goes 29 for 41, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joshua Dobbs in a QB for the Titans. 20 completions, 39 attempts, 232 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He must be their third string guy. Must be. Alright, I thought the Commanders would beat the Browns, but I'm not really sure what Washington was thinking here. Heineke, while he hasn't been amazing, has been decent to good for the most part. And they bring back Carson Wentz when they have a wild card on the line. Wentz hasn't played in a while. He wasn't that great when he did play. I'm not really sure what Ron Rivera was thinking bringing in Carson Wentz, and it did cost them because the Commanders were the favorites to win this game. They were at home, and they lose by 14 to the Browns. Deshaun Watson hangs 3 touchdowns on them, which is I think he got more touchdowns in this one game than the rest of the last few weeks he's played combined. Just a really interesting decision from Rivera there, and there was a point, I'm not sure if it was after Wentz's second or his third interception, because he did have 3 interceptions this game, where the crowd was literally chanting for Taylor Heineke to come back out on into the game. Just I don't know, weird coaching decision there. Especially with the playoffs on the line, just a weird coaching decision, but Deshaun Watson goes 9 completions on 18 attempts, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. His best game so far, like I said. Carson Wentz, he goes 16 for 28, 143 yards, no touchdowns. And like I already mentioned, 3 interceptions. Although he did get 1 QB sneak rushing touchdown, so he did get that, but just a 1-yarder. Alright, we were in New York, and I said the Giants would beat the Colts, and they did. Big win for the Giants there, continuing to help them in their playoffs pursuit. 10-38 is your final score in favor of the Giants. Sam Ehlinger in at QB. He goes 9 for 14, 60 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Not a big game from Sam, obviously. Nick Foles also played in this one. Did he get hurt? Let's see. Oh, actually, so the Giants clinched with this one. That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, the Giants returned to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this was the one a bit of controversy. Nick Foles gets tackled by Kayvon Thibodeau. Nick Foles gets hit by him, and he gets injured on the play. He's down, and as he's injured, Thibodeau is like doing snow angels on the field, even though it's not snowing at the time. It's like 52 and sunny. He's doing snow angels on the field. And it goes on for like an awkwardly long time. Like the camera's just kind of watching Nick Foles writhe around in pain, and Thibodeau's like doing snow angels repeatedly. At one point, like, he even kind of moves has like adjust his arm so he's not hitting Nick Foles in the head. So yeah, I forgot that little controversial thing happened in this game, and then Ellinger obviously came in to replace Foles after that. Daniel Jones, he goes 19 for 24, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. He also gets a rush. He gets 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. One the third, one the fourth. But yes, the New York Giants, they are back into the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. I can't remember if that would have been an Eli team or not. 2016, I can't recall exactly when Eli retired, but very exciting. I know I have some Giants fans in my comments quite a bit, so I'm happy for them. Niners, Raiders, Jarrett Stidham in at QB after Derek Carr has left the team for the remainder of this season. This one did go to overtime, which I was not expecting, but 49ers do get the win. Brock Purdy continues to have a fantastic start to his NFL starting quarterback career. He gets 22 completions on 35 attempts, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Honestly, Jarrett Stidham had a pretty good game as well. Even with 2 interceptions, he gets 23 completions on 34 attempts, 365 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, like I said, this one was a lot closer than I was expecting. It goes to OT, and it takes a field goal to win it. It's a very exciting game there, especially one where the Niners were a 10.5-point favorite. They win by 3 in OT, so good showing from Stidham there. After presumably being named, I don't know if he'll be starter next season, but, good showing for him there. Next up, we go to Seattle, and Geno Smith completes the revenge tour of former teams that cut him by beating the New York Jets. Seahawks win this one 23-6. They're also now at 8-0, and their destiny, is not fully in their hands, and there's a little bit of controversy around that, but I'll get into playoff scenarios after this. For the Jets, Mike White, he goes 23 for 46, 240 yards, no touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. Geno Smith, he goes 18 for 29, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Okay, I said the Rams would beat the Chargers. I may be bought into the Baker Mayfield resurgence hype too much. I may have been a little, the Chargers were like my team, since the Seahawks were not going to be great, and then they started kind of sliding a bit, so I maybe got a little pessimistic on them as well. It was, conflicting narratives in my brain. I'm not immune to biases, I will admit it, but the Chargers do win that one 31-10. Baker Mayfield goes 11 for 19. Honestly, kind of shocked they didn't have him throw the ball much more than that. 132 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Justin Herbert, he goes 21 for 28, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. There's another one where they nailed the over-under to 41.5, and the final total score is 41. Crazy how good they get that. Alright, Panthers versus Bucks. I thought the Panthers would win this one. They'd been rolling a little bit with Darnold in at QB. And honestly, Darnold looked good this game. The Panthers in general looked good this game, but that fourth quarter by the Buccaneers was just too much for them to overcome. Final score 24-30 in favor of the Bucks. Sam Darnold goes 23 for 37, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tom Brady goes 34 for 45, 432 yards. 432 yards. Craziness. 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, no interceptions for Brady. So honestly, this was a great game for the Panthers, but their defense just did not hold up whatsoever in that fourth quarter, and Tom Brady did Tom Brady things. Cardinals versus Falcons. I had no faith in this game, but shockingly, I got it right. The Falcons win by 1. Final score 20-19 in favor of the Falcons. A game between 2 quarterbacks I have never heard of before. David Blau for the Cardinals. He goes 24 for 40. 222 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Desmond Ridder for the Falcons goes 19 for 26, 169 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Bears-Lions. Justin Fields, I think, is like 100 rushing yards away from setting the single-season QB rushing record after this game. I think that's the case. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I could have sworn I saw that somewhere. I thought the Lions would win this one, and they did. I honestly thought the Bears would make this closer. I feel like with as good as Justin Fields looks, I just feel like the Bears should be better, but they continue to struggle, and I can't really pinpoint why. I know he doesn't have the best weapons around him, but every time I watch the Bears, it feels like they should be better than they are, and I think that leads to me overrating them a bit. Fields goes 7 for 21, 75 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Jared Goff, he goes off in this game, 21 for 29, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. 41-10 is your final score in favor of the Lions in Detroit. Last 2 games here. Eagles. I thought the Eagles would beat the Saints. Gardner Minshew looked great last week. Put up an amazing performance. I believe it was against the Ravens last week. But yeah, that did not carry through to this week, and they lose to the Saints. They take the L to the Saints, 20-10. Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, he goes off 18 for 22 completions, 204 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Gardner Minshew goes 18 for 32, 274 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and unfortunately for Gardner, that 1 interception is at the end of the game, and it is a pick 6 that goes the way of the Saints and kind of breaks the Eagles back a little bit. Finally, Vikings versus Patriots. I thought the Vikings would take this. Somebody in my comments said Vikings are a lock to lose this one, and a lot of people seemed confident that they were gonna lose this one. I'm not sure why people were so confident that, like, obviously they had a reason to be. But I'm just not sure why so many people were confident that they would. I'm not sure, like, what I was missing out on there. But the Packers just crush them 41-17 to get to 8-8 and set up a very annoying postseason situation for me as a Seahawks fan. But to finish off talking about this game, Kirk Cousins, he goes 18 for 31, 205 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions from Kirk Cousins. One of those being a pick six is just crazy to me. Aaron Rodgers, he goes 15 for 24, 159 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Okay. And obviously, I'm not putting the Cincinnati-Buffalo game in here. We don't know if that game is ever going to get played. It might be ruled a tie, I'm not sure. But we have 15 games this week. I go 9 for 15 for... Let me pull my handy-dandy calculator. Calculator 9 divided by 15 is 60%. So I now get to 150 out of 255, which remains at 59%. Okay, now let's get into this. Let me make myself a little bit smaller here so you guys can see this better. Okay, NFC playoff scenarios. The Eagles clinch the NFC East division title if they win or tie, or if Dallas loses or ties. The Eagles clinch a first round bye and home field advantage if they win or tie, and Dallas loses or ties, and San Francisco also loses or ties. Dallas clinches the East Division title if they win and the Eagles lose. Dallas clinches a first round bye and home field advantage if they win and the Eagles lose, and the Niners lose or tie. And the Niners clinch a first round bye and home field advantage if they win and the Eagles lose. Now, the annoying bit for me as a Seahawks fan, we clinch the playoffs if we win and the Packers lose or tie. The Packers are playing the Washington Commanders. That game, the Packers-Commanders game, was originally scheduled to be played at the same time as our game. So that means neither team knows what's happening in the other game as they're playing, which means you're still playing hard. The problem is that Green Bay-Washington game has now been flexed to Sunday Night Football. So the outcome of the Seattle game will already be known while that game is being played, which makes people feel like Washington will not try to win that game so they can improve their draft position if the Seahawks win. And a lot of people feel like the NFL, or Seahawks fans, some of us feel that the NFL flexed that game to Sunday because they want the Packers in the playoffs for ratings, so people feel like they're kind of, cheating a little bit. They're kind of fixing it a little bit, trying to get Aaron Rodgers into the playoffs. The other method the Seahawks get into the playoffs is them getting a tie, plus Detroit getting a tie, and Washington losing or getting a tie. Detroit clinches the playoffs if they get a win and Seattle loses or dies, or if they get a tie and Seattle loses, or if they get a tie, Seattle gets a tie, and Washington wins. And the only thing that the Packers have to do to get into the playoffs, annoyingly, is win. And as a Seahawks fan, I'm sick and tired of the Packers. It feels like we're always in this situation where, like, our destiny is controlled by what the Packers do when it gets to this time of the year. It's like every year. This keeps happening. But, so, hopefully we win and Green Bay loses. We need the Commanders to show up. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers melts down like he was doing at the beginning of the season. Alright, now, this is what I think is the most likely scenario for the AFC, and that is the Cincinnati-Buffalo game either being canceled, meaning it will not affect the standings, or that game being declared a tie. I think that game being declared a tie is the most likely outcome that the NFL will do, which is why I have this one first. I think that game will be declared a tie by the league head office. So in that situation, the Chiefs clinch a first-round bye and home field advantage if they win, or if they tie and Buffalo dies, or if Buffalo loses. Buffalo clinches a first-round bye and home field advantage if they win and Kansas City loses or dies, or if they tie and Kansas City loses. Tennessee clinches the AFC South Division title if they win. Jacksonville clinches the South Division title if they win or tie. Jacksonville clinches a playoff berth if Miami loses, the Patriots lose, and Pittsburgh loses. So they need a lot of things to happen there for them to get the playoffs. You need 3 teams to lose. New England clinches the playoffs if they win, or if they tie. The Dolphins lose or tie, and the Steelers lose or tie. Or if Miami loses, Pittsburgh loses, and Jacksonville wins or ties. So as you can see, this game being canceled or declared a tie makes things very sticky in the AFC, but I personally think the game being declared a tie is what is going to happen. Next up, the Dolphins get the playoffs if they win and the Patriots lose or tie, or if they tie, the Patriots lose and Pittsburgh loses or ties. And the Steelers clinch the playoffs if they win, if Miami loses or ties, and if New England loses or ties, or they get the playoffs if they tie, Miami loses, and New England loses. Now, this is the AFC if Cincinnati and Buffalo is rescheduled for Week 19. This would be them adding a week just to have this game played. I don't think that's going to happen, personally. Maybe it does, but I personally don't see it. In this scenario, Kansas City gets a first-round bye and home field advantage if they win and Buffalo loses and dies, or if they tie and Buffalo loses. Buffalo gets a first-round bye and home field advantage if they win, Kansas City loses, and the Bengals lose or tie, or if they tie and Kansas City loses. Cincinnati clinches the North Division title if they win or tie. Tennessee wins to get the South Division title, just like last time. Jacksonville clinches the AFC South Division title if they win or tie. Same thing, Jacksonville needs the Dolphins, Patriots, and Steelers all to lose to get the playoffs. New England needs to win or tie and have the Dolphins lose or tie, and the Steelers lose or tie. I think this is all the same. So, that's the outcome for this last week of the NFL season. Sorry, my girlfriend just started snoring a little bit over there, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But, again, hopefully DeMar Hamlin is able to pull through. We're all hoping the best for him, and we'll see what happens with the football itself going forward. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. And until next time, guys. Bye bye.